Starting the broadcast. Just gonna make sure my mic and everything is working. Yeah.
Well, like, I mean, I should probably stop playing a horror game while we're on this.
You probably should start playing the horror game, yeah.
You just every.
I think that's on the stream already, to be honest. Right. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the URC. We're back a bit earlier, but I said fuck it, because I'm just ice cold. We're back today for the team's announcement for Tier 1 and Tier 2. The sign-ups are now complete, and we have 40 drivers going into this season. We have Kajoko with us, the Season 3 World Champion. We have Azza, the man who had to retire a couple of races into the season for unknown reasons. But we have him here with us tonight. How are you doing, lads?
Doing good.
I'm still recovering. Retired for medical reasons. Still recovering, but getting there.
There's the proof
Just
that
wheeled him out of hospital there last week.
Should still be in hospital.
So, obviously, before we get into all the exciting parts, we're 3 seasons into the URC now, and now we have 2 tiers for Season 4. What are we thinking? Has this been a big jump? What will Tier 2 even be like? I mean, what can we expect? If anyone wants to come in on that.
I mean, I think Tier 2 will show really how drivers can adapt to different situations, because it's I wouldn't say it's slightly different to F1. I'd say it's completely. You don't have that big ERS boost, like that's massive for people. You get drivers that are really good at managing that, and that gives them like a like a bigger advantage, because they adapt to when to use it at the perfect time, when to sit it back. But with F2, it's just pure pace and pure consistency, and I'm really interested to see how drivers will deal with that and without the big jump of ERS.
Yeah, absolutely. Kajoko will come to you obviously after that season in Season 3 in the 1 tier. Now we have 20 drivers that are Tier 1 drivers, and obviously 20 drivers that are Tier 2. So what do you think the competition is going to look like this year?
I think it'll be crazy different. Like, we've a good few drivers obviously will be Tier 2 that were in the old 1 tier last season, so it'll give them an opportunity to maybe win a championship, get a few race wins and podiums, and maybe set them up for success maybe in a season or 2 time to come back to Tier 1. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get any journeys like that. Maybe Bluefoot or its Wolves can go on a crazy journey like that. And yeah, like in Tier 1 is just going to be another level altogether with the addition of a good few fast lads this season.
Yeah, definitely. And just obviously a bit of a leak here, but you've chosen to stay with Ferrari. That's the one confirmed seat of Tier 1 so far. What made you choose to stay with the Ferrari team? Gabri was the influence.
Absolutely.
Bono's gone.
Ferrari are my favourite team, so it'd be my choice anyway. But it'd be nice to obviously try and defend the title in the car I won as well. So it's a shame that I won't have Azza in the seat alongside me, but looking forward to seeing the announcement now in the next few months. Who will be there too?
No worries. Right. So, Azza, you're obviously back. You're in Tier 2. So, how are you feeling for the competition this season?
To be honest, I can't say that I'm not looking forward to it, because I actually have that kind of excitement to be able to race in F2 cars. I know I'm probably going to do awful because I ain't played the game in months, and it's a massive pace difference and setup wise. Actually, what I forgot to mention, and I don't think either of us have actually thought about, is the setups are completely different, because you don't have the suspension and all that kind of stuff that you can edit in an F2 car. I'm pretty sure it's just it's like you can only do like 1 or 2 things on it, if I'm thinking correctly.
Yeah, it's gonna be a different challenge. the F2 cars, that's for sure. But I think it's going to be a challenge that would be interesting to see, who actually is able to master the challenge, and they're the ones who are going to do better in the races. But like looking at all the lap times here, we have a serious grid of very close drivers. I think the championship is anyone's game this season. But we'll get on to kicking off the tier two teams anyway. Um, so Prima.
As with a cheeky sandbag there.
Just to be clear, me and Kajoko don't have a clue about any of the teams in either tiers at the minute, so this is our first time finding out as well.
So for Prima, now I was looking at the drivers and just seeing who to pair with each other, but I think this is going to be a very strong pairing. So in Prima Racing, which is part of the Red Bull Academy, we have Wolves and Bluefoot in the Prima team.
Oh.
I think that is a very strong pairing.
You'll have a inter-team fight there, I think.
I was about to say, I think you'll have two teammates fighting for a championship.
Yeah, that's what makes it interesting, though. Two good drivers as teammates. We could see like a Nico Rosberg Hamilton rivalry.
It could start well. It could start well in the first few races, but as the championship heats up and one of them wants to prove themselves over the other, that's where we could probably see a bit of trouble. But hopefully we'll get a good few races where they want to work together for the constructors. But that could change quick.
Yeah, definitely. What were you going to say about this team? And
I was gonna say Wolves didn't have a bad. Wolves just got unlucky last season with his placements. He always drove really well. There was the odd race where he got unlucky. Same with Bluefoot. He does have pace potential. We've seen it many times. It's just a little bit of consistency with both of them. But like Kajoko said, I think there's going to be an inner battle there for the championship, and hopefully it comes out green and not black.
Well, I think we will, as Kajoko was saying, obviously they could start off the season on a high, and then they might start getting race wins, and then they'll see, hang on, a championship's up for grabs between the two of us, but who's going to go for it? And there's going to be battles on track for sure. Moving on then from Prima, we go to Uni Virtuosi. Basically, in the Alpine Academy, it's pretty much written on the car. So for Alpine, or Virtuosi in this case, we have Rian C11 and Jackie Gabbana in the Virtuosi teams.
Interesting pairing. I know Rian C is a hell of a driver on his day, so I think he could be up there this season. I don't know enough about Jackie Gabbana, but it'd be interesting to see how he gets on.
Yeah,
Wait,
Jackie.
Is that Rayan? Or am I just
Jackie Gabbana is a different guy. Rayan is permanently banned.
Yes. Apologies.
So realistically, I think out of this pairing, Rian is the quicker driver. He'd basically be the number one driver in this team. Jackie Gabbana would be like the second driver, but I think he'd be able to get into the points a couple of times this season. The F2 cars have an ability to fight very close, so he might be able to get up in the points if he keeps the races clean. But I think Uni Virtuosi have a good chance at tackling Prima when they're battling each other. So that's going to be, I think that'll be interesting to see
as well. Like you said, if there's a clear number one driver, he can get the help from his teammate where it mightn't go on as much in Prima. So it'll be interesting to see that kind of dynamic going on as well.
So we will move on then to Carlin. Carlin again, one car is in the Red Bull Academy and then one is in the Williams, so they both have different sponsors on them. The first Carlin driver though is Wicked Red, and the second one is Aaron Sully. So a season one driver with Wicked Red, who's had, as you mentioned, Kajoko had a very good season in season 3. So I think this is a good pairing if Aaron Sully can get up to speed, and obviously same with Wicked Red as well. We'll have to see what they can both do.
Yeah, I think that pairing has a lot of potential.
And yourself, Kajoko? Aaron Sully and Wicked Red.
Oh yeah, very strong pairing. I think that's probably the team on par with Prima. So Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
do. I
and
do think
Sully,
Sully
yeah,
can adapt to it pretty quickly.
yeah, and yeah, if Wicked Red would be my pick there for probably the whole championship to begin with. So
Yeah,
hopefully they won't have as many coming together as either. So yeah, very strong
hopefully
lineup.
not. Yeah, absolutely. Next up, then we have High Tech. So High Tech GP. These are the lads who belong to Haas, I believe. If I'm right there, if I'm wrong, do correct me. But High Tech, two guys we don't know much about. So High Tech will be a bit of a, I don't know, maybe a surprise team this season. But LZ Albo and Jack C. So two very interesting drivers there. Probably medium paced in this 20 driver lineup. Um, what's your opinion on High Tech there, lads?
Should be a good pairing. Is that Jake Harley? Is it
Oh,
Jack C?
that's Jay Carley. Yeah, that's Jay Carley. Jay Carley. As I've seen in LOI, um, he has pace 100%. I think it's just his driver awareness. He has improved a good bit actually. So I can't really sit here and say his driving standards ain't like up to par or whatever. But if he can improve on that even more, he can use his pace to his advantage and possibly be up high in the top five, top six. Personally, I believe.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah,
yeah, it's a good opportunity there with maybe no pressure on their shoulders. They can grow as the season goes on and nab a few podiums and maybe an occasional race win if there's an awful lot of fighting at the front. So be interesting to see how they get on.
yeah, for sure. I think looking at High Tech, I think they're going to be a good team. I think it's, this season I think will really show how the F2 cars are in terms of the racing, and I hope we get a good season for them because we're not going to know much about them. We can't really, we get when we're doing the tier one teams. Obviously, we'll relate to how each team has performed in previous seasons, but this will be the first time we'll be seeing how these teams perform in their standings and their races. So it's definitely going to be interesting, and I think any drivers could prove to put on a good show this season. So next up, then we'll move to ART. These guys are in the Alfa Romeo or the Sauber Academy, I believe. It should say it on Theo Porcher's car. Yeah, it does. And ART's lineup for this season is Rando and Malachi. So they're fairly. There's a good bit. There's not much that separates them, in my opinion. It's a good lineup, though. I think Rando has really good pace in him. Obviously, he's tier three LOI champion. So, um, as well, Kajoko, as you were saying, he will have pace this season. It's just what tracks he might have the pace on. He might show them in the early stages, and maybe on the tracks he might suffer. He will struggle, but I
Hmm.
think he's going to be up there in the top fights this season. What do you think?
You definitely expect Rando to be up there, certainly fighting for wins, and definitely around the mix for a championship. But I suppose probably I know we kind of touched on as well. It would be interesting to see. We expect all these lads to be fast from F1 cars, but can they, you know, bring that over to the F2 cars? Will be the thing. So,
Yeah,
um,
that's true. Because obviously, like I said, the setup thing and stuff, it's not the same.
yeah, and it is, they're completely different handling as well. So it'll be interesting to see who gets up to speed very quickly, and maybe if the likes of a couple of these drivers don't get up to speed till race 4 or 5, they could be out of the championship before they even know it. So, nonetheless, though, from what we know of Rando, we'd expect him to be right up there, and I think Maliki is pretty fast on the time trial sheets as well. So, looks like a
Yeah,
good team.
absolutely, for sure. Now, MP Motorsport. So basically, these are the McLaren junior team because you can kind of tell by the orange and black. In MP Motorsport, this is a very good lineup, and actually, one of their drivers who's racing for them has surprised me with his lap times. So we have Storm as their main driver in driving under Felipe Drogovic's car. And then Clement Novalak's car will be driven by Fate Goat. He's an Australian driver, so he'll be racing at pretty much 9 a.m. In the morning. So fair play to him if he actually makes some of the races. But this looks like a really good lineup in my opinion. What do we think of MP Motorsport?
I think,
Yeah, yeah, go on,
yeah,
else.
you go ahead, Kale.
I was gonna say it's a good lineup. I know Storms from last season, obviously, maybe had been a small bit off the pace, but and I know I probably got caught up in a bit unlucky in situations, a couple of crashes here and there that mightn't have always been his fault, but he always seemed to be thereabouts. So it'll be good to see now if he can put it together and get a couple of podiums wins. Like I said, probably every team so far will have that ability. So yeah, another good lineup there.
And Azza, did you want to say something there as well?
I don't really have any comments to make because I don't really know both drivers that well. I know when I raced Storm two or three times in Tier One when I was racing, he was good at defending, so he's not bad at defending. But I haven't really seen him too much to comment on him, and neither with the other lad because obviously he's new, so I can't comment too much.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, a lot of these drivers are fairly new, and obviously, we'll hopefully learn a lot about them throughout the season. So we're not going to really have much to say about the Tier 2 drivers. Some of them will stand out from Tier 1, but it's a lot of new drivers to have a look at this season and really get to know them. So hopefully we'll get to see that with MP Motorsport as well, and maybe see if they can challenge the top guys. But moving on to Campos Racing. Now, Campos Racing, this looks like a really good lineup. And as I hope you're prepared for this, because you will be racing in Campos with none other than Griffin.
Yes,
Oh, what a team!
I am
Azza and
delighted.
Griffin in Campos Racing for
Oh my
season 4.
god, I am delighted. Me and Griffin were saying how we wanted to be teammates. I am delighted.
So Azza, you must be
I tell
happy
you
with
what,
this lineup.
happy. I'm overjoyed, bringing tears to my eyes. Honestly, I couldn't ask for a better teammate in Tier 2. Genuinely, we were only just talking about me and Griffin a few days ago, and I do believe that he'll have a chance to prove himself. He didn't have many opportunities in Season 3 to prove himself as he got very unlucky with incidents and spins, all that kind of stuff. But Griffin on his day, I think, could beat any driver. And
Yeah,
I'd say that even if he wasn't my teammate, I genuinely think that Griffin on his day, considering he was racing with, I believe, no assists in Season 3, now that he's got used to them, I think he could beat anyone on his day.
absolutely. Kajoko, what's your thoughts of that lineup? Do you think that might be able to challenge Prima, or has Prima still got the best lineup?
Yeah, no, that's a mega lineup. I mean, Azza and Griffin are arguably Tier 1 drivers on their day. Um, I think we started off with the Prima lineup and we thought they'd dominate, but as we're going through them, they're just getting stronger and stronger. So I think it's just going to be a really exciting tier to watch, and yeah, Griffin and that'll be one of those pairs to watch. So looking forward to it.
Well, yeah, I'm very excited for this lineup. Originally, it was supposed to be Griffin and Gaffo, but we don't tolerate racists in this league, so he was given the boot, and we brought in Azza to replace him. So Azza and Griffin in Campos. I think we can see these guys challenging up at the top in the races. Maybe not in China, because Azza will probably catch COVID, but other than that, he should be fine for the rest of the season.
Right, I've
He
got
already has
something worse than I have something worse than COVID in a minute.
Moving on to Dams. So these guys are, I think one of them is Williams, or sorry, one of them is AlphaTauri, because he's not going to go to the Williams Academy, but it's going to be one of them is belonging to AlphaTauri, and then another one belongs to Red Bull. But the Dams team for this season is Alpha SLK and Michael Towers. Again, two very new drivers to the league. Alpha, I believe, didn't get a great start off in his Tier 1. At the end of the season, he had a bit of a couple of controversies in Hungary. I think he had a better race, though, at the end of the season. I think it was either Abu Dhabi or Brazil he raced in. He had a better race that time around. Michael Towers, not sure what to say of him yet. We haven't seen him. We'll probably hopefully see him in the trials this week. But I think that's a good lineup for Dams. Two drivers getting
Yeah.
to the grips of the league, and I think that's the story. I think that's kind of like the idea for the other new drivers as well, just to get a grip of this league and understand that there's a Tier 1 seat up for grabs next season. and you have to be able to fight for that. Any other words, guys, on dams, or do you want to move on?
Yeah, just like you said, it's a bit of a proving grounds, I guess. Tier two. So, even with Alpha, I think he joined for the last two races this season, and even those we saw an improvement in just two races. So it'll give the opportunity to really build themselves up and put them in shape for a tier one seat. So, looking forward to see who can do that.
Yeah, I'm very
Absolutely.
excited to see all the new drivers that we haven't seen perform yet. I'm interested to see how they do. I really am. Some of them could even like blow all our comments we've made away and absolutely like run away with the league. You never
100%.
know.
Right, we'll move on to Trident. Now, Kajoko, I know you're excited for this team. Racing in Trident this season is
Lead driver.
not the lead driver, he's the second driver. So Hayden is racing as Trident's number one driver. And then their second driver, I can't believe I'm saying this,
Italian superstar legend. That is
Gabriele De Blasi.
Why isn't Gabri number one? Gabri's always number
He is
one.
number one.
That's
He
because Gabri is 16th in the drivers' ratings.
It's all lies. Don't believe the time trials. Gabri is a championship contender.
Gabri is the
Asa,
goat.
stop laughing. Stop laughing.
I'm sorry, you couldn't help it.
You're just laughing at the fact you call him a number two driver. That's a joke.
I know, and it's the fact that he goes, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm sorry, but number two driver, I can't believe it. You'll see Gabri in the Discord chat, why am I number two? Poor Italian in an Italian team, but he's in the second seat.
We'll look past that comment, shall we now?
That's awful. We'll
Someone
move on.
sort out
That's
Asa,
awful.
please.
I need to mute myself.
We apologise for Asa on on Gabri's behalf. Oh Jesus!
Right, I'm back. Sorry.
No, you're
Gabri,
not.
If I was you, I'd protest. He should be first driver. No, Manny, I'm not okay, mate. I'm fucking dying.
He thought he was one, but he was two. Right, moving on to VAR. This is the last team, so we're down to the last tier 2 team. Finally, the final tier 2 team is Bartifer and SHCWH. I think, I'm not being mean, I think this would be the team to finish last. I have a very strong feeling. I can't see VAR pulling off good results this season.
I'm not sure on S8. I haven't seen his times, so I don't know where he is on the sheet.
His
But
Singapore time is quite good, but the rest of like Austria and Singapore is the ones that drag him back.
it could be one of those teams that they'll grow as they go on. I know the Bartford has a strong race on his day, so there's potential there for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I guess it's a case of there's such seriously strong lineups there that it's hard to look past those as well.
Right. So we're done with tier 2 now. So we'll just go back to the Prima car there for a bit.
Wait, did you say the team was called VAR?
Yeah, Van Amsford or something like that. Like, it's just VAR though, and it's short initials are VAR.
Jesus, it was just when I thought we got rid of VAR.
Looking on then, let's get your predictions for the championship. Who wins the drivers? Azza, we'll go with you first.
Oh, don't put me on the
Decide
spot
yourself,
like that. I'd personally go between Wicked. The three contenders I think will be Wicked, Griffin, and I had someone else in my mind. It just blew out of my mind there. Oh God.
Yeah.
Come back to me in a second.
I'll come back to
Suppose.
him when we're doing tier one. Kajoko, who's your drivers champion for a season for tier two?
Um, I'll go with one pick. I think Wicked
Interesting.
will win. Will win the championship this season.
In the Carlin, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Wicked, Rando, or Griffin are my three.
Yeah, that would be an interesting title fight if that does happen. I think it's going to be Griffin. I think he's going to win this. He's going to prove me wrong, and he's going to just storm through the season, win about 4 races, and absolutely dominate the rest of the season. Now,
Love
I'm
to see
probably
it.
commentating curse here, but whatever. I'll do what I want.
Don't you give my teammate commentators curse you.
Who would you expect to improve the most as the season goes on? 'Cause I guess that's the main aim with this tier as well.
To be honest, I think who's going to really shock me, I think, I'm looking at it now. Uh, I think Gabri's going to have a good season.
So would you
I'm,
say
I'm,
Gabri's your one
Yeah.
to watch?
I'm genuinely being. I think this is his season. To, I think if
I
he
do think he'll
finishes in the
improve.
top 10, if he finishes in the top 10, I'll applaud him. I think that's a great achievement for him. He has the capabilities to do it. He has the skill, and I know he has the ability in that trade. And obviously, I think Hayden will be helping him along the way. But I think he's going to be hopefully have a good season. He may struggle in some tracks, but I think he's going to be having a good season anyway for himself.
Is Monza on the calendar?
I'll actually check here now. I
There we go.
don't. Yeah, Sorry, is Monza on it? So Imola's on it, but
That's
Monza
close enough.
isn't. Yeah, it's in Italy, so he'll be wanting to do well in that race. It's after France, so um, yeah, we'll move on from the tier two teams. That's the tier two lineup. So I'll run through them quickly again, because I know Wolves has missed it. So in Prima we have Wolves and Bluefoot. In Virtuosi, we have Rian and Jackie Gabbana. Carlin is Wicked Red and Aaron Sully. High Tech is Albo and Jack Carley. ART is Rando and Malachi. MP Motorsport is Fate Ghost and Storm. Campos Racing is Azza and Griffin. Dams is Michael Towers and Alpha SLK. Trident is Hayden and Gabri. And then last but not least, VAR is S8CWH and Bartavor. So basically the alphabet and numbers and Bartavor is in VAR. So we move on from tier 2 to what everyone's been waiting for. Tier 1. Now, a lot of drivers were improving their times, especially Kajoko. He was a bit nervous, I won't lie, when he looked at his times. He had to improve them and sweat out the tracks.
Tier 2 spec.
Yeah, tier 2 spec,
You will
yeah.
have to do this for 1 or 2 minutes by yourselves. I just have to pop out for a minute.
Yeah, that's grand. So, we can do this on how it's done on the sheet, or we can do it from the constructors of last season, but I'm just going to do it from the sheet because I don't want to look at the standings. I can't be arsed.
I don't mind looking at them.
No, it's fine.
I'm joking. Go on.
So, we'll start with Mercedes. Mercedes, I think, have a very good lineup this season. They were actually teammates in Abu Dhabi, and that is Jordan Olancer and Junior 33. These two guys are incredibly quick. Mercedes have a strong chance this season. And Jordan actually won Abu Dhabi. So, Kajoko, you know Jordan better than
Yeah.
I do. Do you want to talk us through this Mercedes lineup and what you think of it?
Yeah, very strong. Was is it JRR or JJR, the second driver?
I just call him Junior.
Junior. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was Junior in Abu Dhabi. I'm not sure if it
Junior
was.
was in Abu Dhabi. He finished P4 actually, so
Yeah. Well, I think they were both very strong. Obviously, Jordan won the race, so I know we were missing an awful lot of drivers on the day, but nonetheless, to win a race is, no small achievement. So I can't not think that he won't be up there this season. It'll be just a case of can he put that in, race after race, but he'll definitely be, one to look out for next season.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see this pairing because they definitely raced very well. You know, Junior was up in second for the majority of the race um with Jordan just pretty much pulling away. They do seem to work very well as a team. So I think Mercedes should be in the top three this season. I don't think they have any excuse to not be, looking at the pace that they already had in the last race of the season, and where they are in the drivers' times. But of course, as you said, we can't really base it off the times. We have to look at the trials this week and really see how they work together um, as a team. And then next up we have Red Bull. Now Red Bull, as we know, has struggled in the URC in the last 3 seasons. They finished last, I think it was last this season in season three. They didn't finish very good in season two either. They've had drivers in and out of that seat really, but I think they have a serious lineup this season. So their drivers are Samurai GR and Kostas Gialou. Samurai at the moment being the quickest driver in Tier 1, with Costas being one of the slowest. But I think Costas and other tracks might show some good pace. So Red Bull, I think they have a good lineup here, Kajoko. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know either drivers. I haven't raced with either of them yet, so can't comment too much. Obviously, I know we're going off the times, which obviously, which was saying Samurai was, I think, head and shoulders above everyone. So I think a lot of us will be hoping he's a TT merchant, but look, he could. Hopefully, he doesn't run away with it completely, but I'm sure he'll be up there as well. So yeah, a team to watch for sure.
Right. Yeah, Red Bull, I think they have a chance to be in the top five this season with their lineup, but we don't know until round one. Moving on to Ferrari, the defending constructors champions. Obviously, we know who the first driver is, Kajoko, and your teammate is Lucas Paul. So he is from RSL. He was a Ferrari driver there in season one. Um, he's very much a Ferrari driver at heart, I think. So he looks pretty good. I think you'll get along with him very, very well. Do you think Ferrari can challenge again this season for another constructors, or what will you be aiming for? Is it to retain that title?
I hope so. I don't know much about Lucas. Again, another driver I haven't raced with, so be interesting to see how we can, work together for the constructors. For the drivers, um, not as confident, I guess, as last season. We've got a hell of a lot of faster drivers this season, I think. But we'll do my best. And yeah, hopefully I can put it up to the guys.
That's all you can do, sure. Really give it your best and see what happens. You know, you had a rough start to it in Singapore last season, but as soon as Canada and Netherlands came along, if you found your form pretty quickly. So anything can happen
Yeah,
really, and it's 14 races. So if you
it'll
make a
be about
mistake
consistency. Yeah,
yeah,
the
if you make a
consistency will win
mistake
this
in the
season.
first race, there's 13 rounds to go after that. So it's pretty much fine. Now, moving on to McLaren. This team has been really up and down, I think, since the start of URC. Season one, they got fifth place, a really good achievement by them, actually. I think that was when Griffin and Ryan Kern were teammates, and they worked pretty well to get that result in the end. Season two, McLaren got fifth again, and they've really been a midfield team. But in season three, they finished eighth. Not their best season. It was Banter King and Pa Kenny. Banter King struggled a lot in season three. Pa Kenny didn't have much form. But in season four, I think this lineup's going to be loved by everyone. It's FaZe McBot in McLaren with Glenn Mack.
Good team.
Very friendly team. A very friendly team, I must say. I think McBot does love Glenn Mack, so um,
Yeah, that should be a good team. They're obviously good friends, and hopefully they can, work together to bring home good results. FaZe obviously probably be a title contender next season, so I'm sure he'll have a good ally in Glenn. So that'll be a very good team to watch.
yeah, for sure. Let's have a look at Alpine. Alpine have a good lineup as well, I think. I'm confident in Alpine this season. Racing in Alpine for season four, just obviously a bit of looking at Alpine's history. In season one, they struggled a lot. It wasn't the best season for them. Season two, they did really well in. Season two, they got second. It was when Rayan was at his prime, Griffin was at his prime, and they brought home like around 208 points. It was an incredible season for Alpine, their best season to date. And and then this season they managed to pick up fourth place, which is a good recovery for them considering the start they had. But Alpine's drivers for this season is S Junior and James Mallon. I think that's a very good lineup for Tier One.
I think that's a very strong team.
Yeah,
Probably one of the strongest so far. Yeah, I think they will be serious contenders for the constructors, and obviously with SGR, he's just a machine. So I think with a bit of luck this season, he could be, he could definitely wrap up a championship. So great team
yeah,
there.
for sure, definitely. I think S Junior has been unlucky and especially in the start of season three, where he had a couple of podiums and a couple of top fives and still couldn't get that race victory, which is unfortunate. But I think he has it in this season, in season four, to get a race win under his belt and get that championship, as you were saying. Moving on to AlphaTauri, a team that looked pretty okay this season. I think they got fifth or sixth in the end of the constructors' championship, but it was Wolves and Griffin, and they were struggling a lot of the time. I know Griffin was definitely struggling this season. Wolves towards the end of the season was probably in positions for podiums and maybe could have had a victory in Brazil if stuff went his way. But AlphaTauri this season, their drivers are Ryan Curran and Banter King for AlphaTauri. So another strong lineup in my opinion. I'm not sure what you think about that one, Kajoko, considering the two drivers have had very poor season threes. But can they turn their luck around?
Yeah, yeah. I guess you could say they had a rough season last season. Banter King is on his day more than capable of winning a race, and I guess if you put it all together, he could be a championship contender as well. I know he has been in the past. Um, Brian Curran as well. Obviously one lap pace is a strong point. If he just somehow managed to string that together and put it all together, he'd be a serious racer. So really hoping obviously this is the season for him, and yeah, that this can be maybe one of the surprise teams for the season.
Yeah, for sure. Looking at Aston Martin, I think this is a good lineup, a lineup of a quick driver and a driver who can pull off a bit of a shocker on his day, and a couple of surprises. Um, we got so the first driver for Aston Martin is Tomaz. So he was Williams last season. He had I would give him my driver of the season. Tomaz was incredible to pick up that race win in Brazil and do the risky lap in those wet conditions. I think Aston Martin have another serious driver this season, and their second driver is Twin Gene. So Tomaz and Twin Gene in the Aston Martin for this season.
I like that lineup. Yeah, no, that's good. Obviously, we know Tom from his race win in Brazil, which was just a masterclass. And if you look at him as a whole last season, he only got better as every race went on. So if he continues that trajectory, he could be right up there for a championship. Twin, obviously on his day, is very fast as well. Steadily getting faster as well. So I think this team is probably in a real shout for constructors battle as well.
Yeah, it just looking at all the teams you've announced so far, this constructors could go any way, I think. Because obviously there are some quick drivers and there are some very quick lineups, but with 14 races, some of them being very difficult tracks, mistakes can happen. We could see shockers as we've seen in season three, so anything can happen. Looking at Williams, the runners up in season three constructors championship. Um, In the Williams team, we have second place runners up in the Drivers' Championship of Season 3, Bunsey, racing in the Williams, and his teammate, probably could have been fifth place if he was still in the season, is F1 Marley. So Bunsey and Marley on the Williams team.
Very strong again. Yeah, obviously I know Bunsey missed the last two races of the season and was right up there for the championship to the very end. So I'm sure he'll do the very same this year. Marley obviously has come back with a bang, and um, it's be interesting to see how he gets on as well. So yeah, I know I'm saying for nearly every team, but potentially a constructors battle there as well. So very strong team.
Yeah, definitely. I think Williams have another good team um, this season, and I think it's going to be exciting to see how they start off the year in pretty much 3 weeks time, around that, until we are back racing. But we're down to the last two teams. It's kind of mad how we've gone through this so quickly, but um, it is what it is. Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo have an interesting lineup. Now, there's a driver in here we need to keep an eye on this season. Their first driver is Arda the Cypriot, and their second driver is Omar. So Arda and Omar are teammates in Alfa Romeo. So what's your thoughts on Alfa Romeo? They've been a pretty good team in the last two seasons. What can we say about them going into season four?
Do you know what? I actually think Arda will be the surprise driver of this season. I know there was a bit of talk that TT times were a bit off, but I genuinely think Arda will be the surprise driver of this season. Um, I think he might grab a race win. He might be right up there, but I think he'll be the real surprise. Don't know enough about Omar, um, but I'm sure he'll be right up there as well, going by TT times. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting team to watch for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they have a very strong lineup here, so I'll be excited to see what Arda can do. He looks quick enough to challenge for the top four, so he has an opportunity to prove everyone wrong, and we'll see if he can do that in style. And then the final team, who were chasing to try and defend their constructors last season, they didn't have a very strong lineup. This season, they have a good lineup. OP Gamer and Douglas G17. There's very little separating them, so they are kind of they both have really good pace. And we know how quick OP Gamer is on his day. He was P2 in quali in Abu Dhabi last week. He's had his moments as well this season where he's looked fairly strong. Baku was one of them, and Hungary as well. Another strong race for him there. So, what can we say about Haas? Are they going to be on the charge again this season, or will they be struggling?
I think OP Gamer will be right up there. Um, I think he missed a couple of the first few races at the start of last season, or he was reserving, so that can hurt him the championship. But if he was there from the start, I think he would be right up there to the end. So I would definitely expect OP to be right up there again next season. And then Douglas, I can't really comment on. I don't know enough about him, but yeah, just crazy. 10 strong team, so looking forward to it.
And can we get any predictions now, lads, on who wins this Drivers' Championship? Who will? Because the Season 4 Championship, I think, at this point can be anyone on this grid. Kajoko, obviously, you want it to be yourself, but if there was any other predictions, who would you say if it's not you?
I'd go with SGR.
S Junior, not bad. Asa, who would you say?
Well, I wasn't here to listen to it. If you could just run me through the names real quick.
I will, yeah. So in Mercedes, we have Jordan O'Lancer and Junior 33. In Red Bull, we have Samurai GR and Costas. In Ferrari, we have Kajoko and Lucas Paul. In McLaren, we have FaZe McBot and Glenn Mack. In Alpine, we have S Junior and James Mallon. Alpha Tauri, we have Ryan Curran and the Banter King. Aston Martin is Tomaz and Twin Gene. Williams is Bunsey and F1 Marley. Alfa Romeo is Arda and Omar. And then in Haas, we have OP Gamer and Douglas G17. So out of those 20 drivers, who's winning the championship?
I'm gonna go with the same as Kijoko there, SJ.
So S Junior to win the championship. Wow.
But then again, I do think
pressure.
it'll be tight between him, Kijoko, and FaZe.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
it won't be easy.
Absolutely. Um, I think for myself, I think it's going to be Jordan. I really think it's going to be Jordan.
Bold shout.
Bold shout, but I'll tell you why, Kajoko. First of all, you're not going to retain because it's going to be a race
Oh,
or
you're telling me I'm
two.
definitely not winning it.
No. I'm telling you this. I'm just saying because it happened. It's happened to McBot this season. He also. I think this is how it is. He won a championship, and then he had a shocker of a season. I think there's going to be two races in season 4 where you're just going to have a total nightmare, and once that happens, it's just going to send you on a down spiral, and then you'll come back up at the end of the season again. The reason why I think Jordan, I think because he looks so good out in front, he looks so consistent. Um, he's not making mistakes when he's out in front as well. So I think he has that capability to win it. For the constructors, I'm going to say Mercedes. I think Mercedes have a very strong lineup this season to win this title. You might have different opinions on who's winning it, but I am full course on with Mercedes to win.
I think Alpine or Williams will win the constructors.
Williams is an interesting shout. To be fair, I can see that happening as well. Azza, what do you think?
Um, I don't. I'm not too sure. I think Glenn Mack and Faze might surprise us.
Yeah, definitely. As a pairing, we could see some on track battles between the two of them, maybe if a race goes wrong for McBot. But who knows? So that is the tier 1 lineup and the tier 2 lineup.
Wait, Sham, can I ask you to predict one more thing? You
You
did it for
can, yeah,
tier
work.
2, so can you do it for tier 1? Who do you think is going to finish last in the constructors?
Right. I really can't even see it. Like, it looks so close. The grid looks so competitive. I think it's going to be a team that just has a shocker,
The
and
unluckiest team.
pretty much the unluckiest team. But I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be AlphaTauri. I know Ryan says he has all these abilities of being quick, but he finished off the season with 3 points. And
What turn?
Banter King didn't exactly have a strong season in season 3. Although they are a good pairing and they might work well, I really don't see AlphaTauri not finishing like in the top 5, or I don't see them finishing in the top 5 at all. I think they'll be in the bottom 3 fight for the most of the season. Maybe there'll be a time where they're in 6, but they'll just keep dropping because there's other teams here who I think are better than them. That's just my opinion. I could be proven wrong completely, and other teams might do absolutely shocking. But looking at the drivers here, I think it's going to be AlphaTauri that finish last, in my opinion. What about you,
Yeah.
Kajoko?
No, I completely agree. It's really hard to call. And probably, yeah, it'll be based on, who gets unlucky, who's ending the wall every race. It's really hard to call. I don't really want to say it because I'm racing with these guys. It could be me. Um, but yeah, no, I can't call it. I actually can't.
As I
At
seen
least
as
I
you're in
Faze
can't.
tier
hasn't had
two, who do you think?
Faze hasn't had the best of luck recently. So even though I say I think him and Glenn Mack could do well, I think him and Glenn Mack could also have a bad season because they weren't very lucky. I'm not saying that's because of their ability, because they definitely do have the ability to be up high. But if FaZe has bad luck like he did last season, it's just going to mess with his head. But they definitely have the ability to do well, but they also have the ability to do bad. It's like any team, really.
Sham
Yeah,
has passed Faze's luck on to me. He's okay now.
I go away. I haven't really. No, I just think like, you know, I think it's gonna be really hard to decide who has the worst season because all the lineups look really really good. They all look really strong, and I don't see any errors in any of these teams. Like Glenn can be a serious driver when things go right for him. Only when the saying "Oh, I've spun again" comes out, that's when you know things have gone wrong for Glenn. But I think him and FaZe are going to be a good lineup. I think Glenn is going to try and help FaZe. He might even fucking put FaZe in a wall when he gets bad and angry. But um, you know,
Oh, what like he did to me the first race last season.
yeah, pretty much. I think we have
You
a
don't
good
set it up
lineup.
the inside there, as it.
Oh no, definitely not. No.
Right, we'll leave that. We'll leave that controversy. But yeah, no, I think there's not much you can fault any of these teams. I've never seen Tier 1 look so competitive. I would say if you were asking me about Tier 1 2 seasons ago, then yeah, I'd be able to tell you easily who would do the worst and who would do the best. But every driver in Tier 1 looks seriously good and looks seriously competitive. And I think, it's really going to be hard to decide who has the worst season, but we're going to have to leave that to the tracks. And speaking of the tracks, we're going to give you a reminder of the calendar because obviously it has been about a week or so. I'd say the calendar's already been forgotten by the drivers, so we will go to the calendar and to end off this stream. Yeah, we'll just pick a random car here. We'll choose the Ferrari. So, round one. No one likes the idea of that we're racing here, but round one is China. So round one is China on the 20th of January. So tier two starts actually a week early. So we'll see Asa racing before Kajoko.
Tasting the champagne.
Tasting the champagne, yeah. Him and Griffin will be on the podium, I'd say. I'm calling it now. And obviously then tier one will be on the 26th of January on that Thursday, and we'll be in China for that as well. Round two, we head to Bahrain. So a nice track for round two, I would say, and we raced here last season. Sorry, in season two. At the start, it was kind of hectic because the game was new and the game just wouldn't work.
Formation
But
bitch, wasn't
it was a bit of a bitch. But hopefully we'll get a better race in season four. Round three, everyone loves this track. I love this track. It's Great Britain. You can't hate this track. It's a fantastic race. We didn't have it on the season three calendar, unfortunately, but I have a feeling Great Britain will be. It definitely stunned in season two. That qualifying in the wet was probably the best qualifying I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I mean, I don't need to commentate on that about myself because Kijoko knows about it. It's probably my best track. I could have got my first ever pole actually in LOI. I don't know if any of you were watched it. Actually, you were in my league, weren't you, Sham?
I was, yeah.
I qualified P2. I could have took P1, but I kind of had a little snap coming into the last corner. I don't understand why people dislike it. I think it's probably the best track out there.
I
Absolutely.
agree. Great track. Be the first track that I'll be able to do anything, I think. Bahrain and China is a tough start. So
It is a tough start, yeah. I think people will struggle early on in the season. I think it's going to be a case for all the drivers. Round three is usually when they begin to settle in. Round four, we were supposed to do pre-season testing here in before season two actually started, but then we decided to move to Spain instead. But we actually are in France for round four. The first time we've raced in France. People seem to underrate this track and
I like
seem
France.
to not
Yeah.
like it. I think it's a good track for racing with a lot of straight line speed. I think it's going to be good for the F2 cars. I really do. I think it's going to be a great race for
Probably
that.
crazy in F2. Jesus Christ, with all the straights, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Even in F1 though, because you'll have the difference in setups, because there are straights, but similarly there's an awful lot of corners. So with the difference in setups, you do have an exciting race. So no, France should be a good race.
Moving on to round five, we go to the home of Gabri. not Monza, but we
His
go
other home,
to
holiday home.
his holiday home in Imola. So the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. I think I said that right. But that is round 5. We raced in Imola last season. Was it season 3? Yeah, we did. It was a
Yeah.
shocker of a race. Twin Gene had a nightmare with the game, unfortunately. So my condolences to Twin Gene on that race. But Kajoko, you won Imola. So what's your thoughts on the track?
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's a tough track for racing though. Quality is quite important there. You can overtake, but extremely difficult to do so. So that'll be one of those types of tracks. So I'm looking forward to having it. It's one of my strong ones. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that one.
It's good to hear. So that's 5 rounds in. We go to round 6, which is we're going to the Algarve in Portugal. Now, I think a lot of people will not like this track either, but I think it looks like a pretty good track. Do you like Portugal?
I've only raced on it once in LOI. Oh no, twice in LOI. I reserved and one tier, done quite well actually, and then my tier 5 race at the time was really well as well. So yeah, I think it's a really fun track. I really do. I think it's balanced. I do. I think most drivers can adapt to it pretty easily.
I think it's a
Kajoko, any
race where you,
thoughts?
yeah, I was gonna say it's probably a race where you might see a couple of controversies because it is an easy track to lose it. You have that very slow speed turn up the hill, which is very easy to lose the car. So, midway through the season, it could be a turning point for both championships, potentially.
Absolutely. We move on then to round 7. This is the race before the season break. Originally, we had 6 races in the first half of the season. Now we have 7, just to make it a bit more spicy. Round 7, we go to Spain. This was the very first race the URC raced at, so it's a very historic track. It's a track that means a lot to the league because, well, it's the first track that the URC has put its tires on. So, yeah, Spain, great track going into the season break, in my opinion. It could be where the championship gets a bit heated. See who has the bragging rights as well going into the second half of the season. And yeah, I am looking forward to going back to Spain after being away from it for 2 seasons now, which is kind of hard to believe and a bit upsetting. But we're back. We're back in Spain, so that's good to see. Moving on to the second half of the season. This track has pretty much appeared every time for a second half. It's probably the best track to go back to racing, and we're at the Red Bull Ring for round 8. Any opinions on Austria?
Delighted.
Do you like Austria?
Yeah, I love Austria. I love it.
Very good to
I
hear.
mean, it's one of my favourites.
Kajoko, what's your
But
thoughts on
it's
Austria?
yeah, yeah. I think everyone loves Austria. Doing well to find someone who doesn't. So yeah, looking forward to it for sure. Not one of my best, but look, it's a fun drive anyway, if anything. So
If you can nail that first corner, you can nail your entire lap.
Yeah, qualifying is very important around there as well, I find. Moving on to round 9, I think round 8 and round 9 are just unbelievable races. Round 9 is Belgium.
it was a really tough race last season.
That race last
Can we
season
ever?
had
Very
me
tight.
on the edge of my seat.
Can we go a season without Belgium?
Mate, Belgium is the shit. It's the shiznit, alright?
Yeah, you're
Belgium
right,
is
it's
the
shit.
Gabri, alright?
Don't ever compare Belgium to Gabri, okay?
Belgium is the Gabri, I'm sorry. It's
Gabri
the
is a whole
trident of
nother level.
URC.
Don't
I think we
insult
might
Gabri like that.
see an Arda win in Spa.
Oh,
Really?
absolutely.
Yeah, he's Belgian, is he?
He is, yeah, that's his home track.
There we go. Heard it here first.
Well, the pressure's on him this season. You know, if he doesn't perform, he knows where he belongs in Tier 2. Round 10 is basically, it has been, I named it as URC's home track because it's a track I've been to. I love it. It means a lot to me. It's none other than Singapore.
Yes.
Round 10, Singapore. That track looks amazing.
I missed
Singapore
that one there.
does.
What was it you said? Oh, yeah, Singapore. Yeah.
Singapore, yeah.
Oh, I tell you what. I think the two street tracks that we have in F1, which is obviously Singapore and Jeddah. I think those two tracks are just absolutely phenomenal to drive on. They're just like therapeutic.
Yeah, Singapore provided us with such a good race. It was the torrential wet conditions in the start, and then it went to the dries. It was a tough race, I think, for all the drivers, and I'm sure Kojoko and Asa, he have a reminiscent of that race to how it was and how tough it was to drive for. So hopefully we will see another good race in Singapore.
I think that F2 will be one of the races of the season there, and I think Asa will get his first win there.
Jesus, Singapore is in April. Sounds like that's so far away.
Okay, maybe we won't have to wait 4 months for an Asa win. Hopefully not.
I mean, it's quite funny actually because I remember it correctly. There's 32 laps in Singapore.
Yeah, I think there's 36.
So I remember it was lap 26, and I went on to Inters, and Shab was taking the piss out of me on stream. And then it started raining heavily on lap 30, and I made it all the way up to like 5th, and he was like, Asa's going to win this. Asa's going to win this. And then I won't talk about what happened afterwards, but I remember he was taking the piss out of me, and it was a Ferrari strategic masterclass. Like, we got rid of Bono. We had fucking
John Bastille.
Gabri somewhere.
No, John Bastille was in the...
John Bastille was
in the engineering box.
Engineering you, but no one was engineering me. I think Gabri took over my car for a minute or something and just said it as
What?
a pit.
Hang on.
Share play.
What? Oh, sure. I didn't know this.
No. Like, it is.
Asa, do continue.
Like, you know when you say like your inner Hamilton came out or like your inner Verstappen, I think my inner Gabri came out.
I can vouch for that, 100%.
Jesus,
I've never seen that Asa since.
Yeah, it's just my mood went right down after that, honestly.
So we move on from Singapore. We come down to the last 4 tracks of the season. 4 very interesting tracks. So round 11 is USA in Austin, which I think that was a good race as well in season 2. Banter King versus Rayan. What are your opinions on USA?
Good track. I don't know if we'll have problems getting Twin his visa back, but hopefully we can. Given what happened last time we were there.
Wait, as his visa, what?
No, Twin Jean's visa
Oh,
might be denied.
Yeah, he might be denied entry, to be honest. Because that barrier has a restraining order against him. Asa, what's your opinion on USA?
I think it's a good track, personally. I mean, that battle in LOI between Gaffo, me, you, OP, it just shows the potential.
Don't talk about USA about me. Don't mention me there in LOI. Right?
Right. Listen, just because I flew by you. Oh, by the way, I was meant to ask you, how's the back of me car look in that race?
How's my championship looking?
Ooh.
Where's your race win?
OP was robbed.
No, he wasn't.
Where's my race win?
Where's your race win?
In the back of Glenn Mack's car. No, but seriously, yeah, it's a good track. I've never seen a race in URC on it, so it'll be interesting.
You should watch it back.
You should watch it back until the Twin Gene moment. So we'll go to
Twin Gene.
Twin Gene drove into a barrier trying to take out FaZe.
Oh God.
Round 12, we head to Jeddah. That'll be on the 20th of April. So Saudi Arabia for the third time in a row. I don't know what's with me putting it on the calendar, but I just love that track. In terms of watching a race, I love it. In driving it, I hate it. But I do love that track. I think it's perfect to have it close to the season finale. Kajoko, what's your thoughts on Jeddah?
Yeah, that's I do agree. I do think Jeddah always, makes a good race similar to Spa, but a bit more riskier. Obviously, you're that much closer to the barriers. You're right. I think that'll be a very interesting race. With second last race with such a risky track, could be one of those ones where the championship protagonists are taking it easy, and you could see a different winner there. But yeah, no, definitely a good race to have near the end of the season.
And then round 13, so the second last race, we go back to Mexico. And I know you and McBot had some controversies there, but what do we think of Mexico, lads?
It's alright.
It's overrated as fuck.
It's alright.
It's it's
Yeah, it's alright.
No, it is. It's a tough track to overtake in as well, to be honest.
Oh, Joker, you should have said it's alright.
It's
It's alright. Yeah, move on.
I will move on there. That's going to be a moment to remember in stream. Yeah, move on. Thanks, Kajoko. Moving on to the finale on the 5th of May. Jesus, this season's really long. So, on the 5th of May, we head to Brazil for the finale. Brazil is the finale this season, which is going to be amazing. I think Brazil is going to be the best race of the season, personally.
Bit of rain as well,
as it's the finale. What do we think, lads? For the F2 finale and for the F1 finale? Because both
Very
tiers
good
have the
track
same
to-
calendars,
Yeah.
obviously.
Well, that's a good shout. I know we've had Abu Dhabi for the past 3 seasons. Has it always been Abu Dhabi?
Abu Dhabi Abu Dhabi has been on it for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, been a nice change. It's just similar to the actual F1 calendar. It's been a season in before, so yeah, no, I definitely like it to finish off the season there.
And Asa, your thoughts as well on Brazil as the finale to end off season 4?
I don't want to talk about it.
All right.
As it's still
drive
hanging out of that barrier.
I always drive well there and somehow I end up into a wall.
Well, hopefully in the F2 cars you won't, because they go a bit slower than the F1 cars.
It's not my speed I have to worry about. It's other drivers.
So that is
There's no lunatics in F2 as it, don't worry.
That is it for the tiers and the calendar. It's all done. We're all set for the trials this week. We're set for the season to start. Asa is shitting himself for tier 2. Kajoko is probably shitting himself for tier 1 as well. Gabri gonna win the tier 2 championship. There's no question. He's the dark horse. The Italian medallion. I can't take myself seriously on this stream. I actually can't. Not when I'm speaking about Gabri.
The piss out of Gabri. First you said he was second driver. And
You're making a joke with this Ferrari Academy chef.
Oh, Jesus. Will he ever get to that Ferrari seat, though? That's the thing.
He will.
He better.
In season 10, Gabri signs for Ferrari. Oh, lads. Right, anyway, moving on.
Right, let's move on.
So tier 2 trials are on Friday. Tier 1 trials are on Thursday. Obviously, they won't be streamed. They are happening behind doors. So, the tracks they're going to be on are Austria, and the Netherlands. Um, it'll be 25% race, one shot quali, just to see how the drivers are fitting in. It'll be more to look at. Um,
Wait,
I'll
can
be
you
more
repeat that?
looking. What do you mean?
I missed what you said about one shot quality because I'd lagged out.
Yeah, so it'll be a one shot quali and a 25% race, pretty much,
What, an
for
F2 or a trial race?
the trial race.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I'd lagged out.
Yeah, no, the F2s. I think we'll have a look at the layout of that because I'm not sure if we're going to do the sprint and the feature or if we're just going to do the quali and feature. I'm not sure because it
I'd
all depends on
recommend just
time.
doing
You
I'd
see,
recommend just doing the feature and the quali.
yeah, that would probably what we'll do because the sprint points are so annoying to work out with. But yeah, so that is pretty much that. I'll probably be more looking at the F. Obviously, I'll be looking at the tier one trials as well, but I'll be more focusing on the tier two trials to see who really belongs in that tier. And personally, I don't want to move anyone up. It would just ruin a title fight that has potential. I know Griffin is whining about being in tier two and wanting to go back to tier one, but like he has a serious chance at a title. I don't know why he'd throw that away. In tier two, I think he should at least give it a chance and see how he gets on. But I won't go into it anymore. Um, yeah, the season starts then on the 20th, tier two, where we'll kick off in China, and then a week later, then tier one will start. So tier two will always be kind of like ahead of tier one. So the week that tier one starts, tier two will already be on round two. So they will finish like a week earlier, pretty much, and that's how it's going to go. It's just to get the F2 guys up and running, and then obviously the tier one lads have a bit of an extra break because they have been going at it for like 3 seasons in a row. So, yeah, Kajoko, Azza, thank you for coming on tonight. For everyone who watched the stream, who liked it, and obviously new subscribers as well, thank you. An hour and 10 minutes in on this stream. That's we talked about a lot here. Um, I'm more excited for the tier two than I am for tier one because I've watched tier one. A lot of the drivers in tier one I know are experienced. I've seen a lot of them race. I'm much more excited to see the tier two guys race because it's in new cars, um, and there's some drivers there who have potential. So that's why I'm more excited to see tier two and enjoy it. 14 races. After that, it'll be a short break period, and maybe season five will be a short one because um, season six probably won't be until 2024. But season five will happen in the summer, and then after that, it'll be a longer break. So it's best to enjoy season four while it lasts because season five could be very short. So yeah, that's it from us. My voice is pretty much going. I've talked a lot. I'm sure Az has laughed a lot, and Kajoko's definitely spoken a lot as well. So thanks everyone for tuning in. We will. I'll check the calendar there actually. Check my phone to see when we're actually
Bye,
going.
have a great time.
Yeah. So 2 weeks. So Friday, 2 weeks time is tier two. We will see you all then. Peace out and good night. And God bless.